Hello and welcome to my channel, Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make this, I call it the fruit and vegetable bag, but of course you could use it for whatever you like. And we have the opening to the bag. You put your hands in and we have the strap, and with the strap we made it with the hook so that you can actually adjust it or put it where you need to put it. And that's the front of our bag, and this is the back of our bag. I also want to show you another one I made. This one, when I'm creating and seeing what works better and how it looks and what needs to be adjusted. So this is my practice one. I think that came out nice too. I like this one also. And this is my first, basically my first one I tried. And as you see, I made it really long. You don't need it that much because your hands have to fit in. And when you go in there, you don't want it to be all the way to the bottom. So I think the size that we have it works better, much better. So these are just others, and you see when you have the different yarn color, how it works when you do it. And of course, as you see, you could see when I sew it because I use a different color yarn. So keep that in mind. If you want to do a different color yarn, you need to use the sewing method, what you're going to use. See, hides it when you use the color of the yarn when you're sewing, and you hide it better and make you don't show your stitches where you're sewing up. So that's what we're going to learn in this tutorial. So let's get started. So before we get started, I wanted to show you the measurement of our bag, and I'm using like the center of our bag to get our measurement. So, and of course it's going to stretch more. So this was lay flat. It's 12 inches across, and then the length without, of course, the straps including from the top to the bottom of the bag, give it like close to 10 inches. Okay, so 12 wide and 10 inches long. These are supplies you're going to be using to make our fruit and vegetable bag. The yarn we're using is Peaches Crème Original. It's a medium 4 wash weight, 100% cotton, and this color is Oasis. And this is 95 yards. So that's 95 yards in this little ball of yarn. The hook we're using is the G6. It's the 4.0 millimeter. I'm going to be using a yarn needle. We're also going to use the swivel hook and D-ring, and this is a 1/2 inch, but we only need one. But this is what I found when I went to the store. So 1/2 inch, only one. We're going to be using scissors, and then we're going to be using a dowel rod. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and with Hobby Lobby, what they do is they color code it when you go in there. So this is the orange, and this size is the 3x8. And it's a 36 inches. That's the really super long. We don't need that much. So my husband, I asked him if he could trim it down for me, because all we need is 7 inch, and he was lovely enough to trim it down for me. So that's all we need, 7 inches, and this is the 3x8. Okay, we need one of that. And regarding our ball of yarn, we need 2 of them to complete our project. I really didn't put this in as a supply, the stitch marker, but I'm going to use it as reference so you see when we get there. So I didn't really add it into our needed supplies, but we're going to use it. So the first part of our project we're going to start is we're going to be starting with the strap. And so we have to use a slip knot stitch in order to get our yarn attached to our hook. And this is how I do my slip knot stitch. If you have another way of doing it, you go ahead and you use it. this is how I do it. I take the yarn, drape it over my 2 fingers, let it fall to the back, the working yarn, take my hook, put it between my 2 fingers, and I pull up a loop of yarn, and I have a little knot, and take that little knot and tighten it against my hook. And that's how we do a slip knot stitch. Now to get our yarn attached to our swivel hook, we're going to place 3 single crochet around it. So what you're going to do is just take your hook and you're going to pull up a loop of yarn. So we have 2 loops of yarn on our hook. This is a single crochet, and yarn over, and you're going to pull straight across 2 of them at the same time. So that's our first one. So we need 3, so we need to do 2 more. Go through the swivel hook, pull up a loop of yarn, another 2 loops of yarn on your hook, yarn over, and pull straight across the 2 of them. One more time, go into your hook, pull up a loop of yarn, 2 loops of yarn on your hook, yarn over, and pull straight across. And that's it. So that's how we attach our yarn to our swivel hook. And for us, with this, I think it's so small, the little strap that we're going to do. So all we're going to do, because this is completion of row 1, so we're going to move on to row 2. All we're going to do is just turn our work, because usually whenever you see a pattern, they would say chain 1 and then turn your work. I'm going to do just turn and then continue working with row 2. But if you want to, you could chain and you see how it comes out. But I prefer not doing that because I think it looks better to me. Like I said, it's a little project, not too big. 3 stitches we have. So just turn your work without chaining. So now we're going to start row 2. So for that first stitch right there, it's going to be a little hard because we didn't chain, and when you do it, you have to keep your little stitches loose, okay, so you could get back into it. And then you're going to just do the single crochet, and the following 2 that we have stitches, all you're going to do is just put a single crochet right there, because we did that for row 1. So now we know how to do a single crochet, and that's for row 2. Now to start row 3, just turn your work and continue working. I'm not going to show you how to do the other row because it's from here. Now you're going to work from row 3 all the way up to row 41, and then we make back up. So keep a track. I usually jot down what row I'm at so I know how many, but continue working and we meet back up at row 41. So we made it up to row 41, and this is how we look. So now what's remaining to do, we're going to fasten off, and how you fasten off, you're just going to chain 1, and a chain is yarn over your hook, and you're going to pull through. And we're just going to pull up a little tail, and now we're going to weave in our ends. So take the scissors, cut that off. Then I'm going to grab my yarn needle and I'll show you how to weave it in. So I attach my yarn needle to my yarn, and we're just going to try to hide our tail under a couple of stitches from the last row that we did. We don't want to pull it too tight so it kind of shrink up on us. Just want to make sure we hide our tail and it looks nice as we do it. Okay, I think that's good enough. Cut that off. And what you're going to do now, that's how it looks for me. What you're going to do now is also do this one. So all you're going to do is just use the stitch and hide it underneath our tail, the one that we started with. So this is how I look after I finish tucking in my tail. So that's it for the strap. We put them aside, and then we're going to move on to the next part. Now the next part we're going to move on to is we're going to do the back of the bag, and I showed you how to do the slip knot stitch earlier, so go ahead and do that. Attach your yarn to your hook. So now to start row 1 for the back of our bag, we need 34 chain. I'll show you how to do a chain earlier. I'll show you again. Yarn over your hook, pull through, and you want to keep your chain loose as we work. So that's 1, yarn over your hook, pull through, 2, yarn over your hook, pull through, that's 3, yarn over your hook, pull through, 4. Keep a track of how many you have, but remember, keep them loose, and we need 34 of them. So we'll meet back up after you finish doing 34. So we did our 34 chain. So the next step is we're going to do 1 single crochet in the second chain from our hook. The first chain is right here, shapes like a V, and the second one is right here. But with this project, what I'm going to do is we're going to work in the bars or those little bumps in the back of our chain. So I showed you how to do a single crochet earlier, so go ahead and do that. And now for the remaining chains that we have, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of them till we get to the end, and then we meet back up. So now that's how we look when we complete row 1. And with the completion of row 1, we have 33 stitches. Now to start row 2, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. And we're going to put 1 single crochet in that first stitch right there. Now what I'm going to do here before we move on to our next step, I'm going to turn it back, and this is our right side of our work. So this is where I use my stitch marker. It's just to remind us, if you could know and find it later on, you don't have to do this. That's why I didn't tell you I put this in the supply. I'm going to just eyeball it and put it to the center of our work. And go under the stitch from row 1. And then that will remind us when I refer to it back again to the front of our work. Now to move on with row 2, we're going to use what's called the Solomon's knot or the lover's knot. There's different name for it, but in this pattern we're going to call it the lover's knot. So with our lover's knot, we want it to be the height of about 1 inch. So you're going to pull up, it's like we're doing a chain, a long chain. So you pull it up to 1 inch, and then you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through. So that's the completion of that chain. So now the next step is you're going to use, like we did when we first started to do the row 1, we use the little back bar of the chain. So that's what we're going to use now. So you're going to go in there and you're going to put a single crochet. So keep the length of our chain 1 inch high, and then you know how to do a single crochet. And that's it. So that's our first lover's knot complete. So that's our first one. So now we need, because our pattern start, we need 2 of them. So go ahead and do again a nice chain 1 inch high, and then complete it by the chain pulling through, and then you're going to put a single crochet in the back bar of our chain. And that's it. So that's our set for our lover's knot. That's 2 of them. So now we have to skip 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch, all we're going to do is single crochet right there. So this is our pattern that we're going to follow. So that's our first one. So I'll show you again, because we're going to follow this pattern till we get to the end of our row. So we're doing 2 lover's knot. So pull up 1 inch tall chain, and then you're going to single crochet into the back of that long chain. That's 1 time. Pull up another chain 1 inch high, and then put the single crochet in the back bar of it. There you go. And then remember, you're going to skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. In the 4th, all you're going to do is a single crochet. And that's it. So that's the pattern till we get to the end. So go ahead and do that till the end, and then we meet back up. So this is how we look when we complete row 2, and you should have 8 sets of the lover's knot. Okay, make sure you have 8 of them. Now to start row 3, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. So we did 4 chain, and now we turn our work. So now we're going to do 1 of the lover's knot. So pull up 1 inch tall chain, and then just put a single crochet right there in the back. So our next step is now we're going to put a single crochet in the center of the set of the lover's knot, the first one that we have. So the center would be right here, and that's where we had our single crochet. So just put one single crochet in there. So now moving on, we're going to do, this is the pattern for row 3. You're going to do a set of the lover's knot. So a set consists of 2 of them of the lover's knot. So that's 1. I'm going to do another one. This will be the set. And now you're going to find the center of that lover's knot from the previous row, row 2. You're going to go in there and put a single crochet. And this is the pattern for row 3. So I won't show you how to do the others. You get the hint of what we're doing. So do a set of lover's knot and then single crochet. Do a set of lover's knot, single crochet, set of lover's knot. And then when you get to do the last center of the lover's knot, I'll catch up there and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I made it to where we have the last center from row 2 to put our set of lover's knot there in that single crochet from row 2. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do just one lover's knot, and what we're going to do next is do a triple crochet in the last stitch that we have. So a triple is yarn over your hook twice before we go into that stitch. So you go into the last stitch right here, and then you're going to pull up a loop, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on your hook. What you're going to do is yarn over your hook and pull across the first 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over your hook again and pull across the other 2 loops. Here you go, and you have 2 loops remaining, and to complete that triple crochet, yarn over and pull straight across. See, we took it off 3 times, so a triple crochet. And that's the complete row 3. And with the completion of row 3, make sure you're going to have, we started, remember, just 1 lover's knot, and then we finish with just 1 lover's knot. So you're going to have 7 full set of the lover's knot, and at the start and at the finish of our row, we're going to have 1 lover's knot. So that makes it, you have 2 half lover's knot. Now to start row 4, you're going to chain 1 and turn our work. In that first stitch right there, we're going to put 1 single crochet right there. This will be the pattern for row 4. So we're going to do a set of the lover's knot, and we're going to find the center of the first set. So this was the half that we completed row 3 with, so not there. So you find the full set of the lover's knot, the center, and you're going to put a single crochet right there. So now go ahead and do that. So you're going to do a set of the lover's knot, single crochet, a set of the lover's knot, single crochet. And when you get, because see right here we end off, remember, in row where we started, row 3, with a half lover's knot. So I'll show you when you get there what to do. So now we made it to where we did our last center. So to continue on for row 4, to complete it, you're going to do 1 set of the lover's knot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to find the 4th chain, and that will be the top of the 4th chain. We're going to put a single crochet. So this was chain 1, 2, 3, and the 4th chain is here. And of course I'm going to use the little back bars in the back, go through there, divide it, go in there, and we put 1 single crochet right there. And that's it. So that's the top of the chain 4 from when we did row 3. And by doing that, we complete row 4. And by completing row 4, make sure you have 8 complete sets of the lover's knot. Now for the other rows that we're going to do and we need is row 5 to row 11. I'm not going to show you them because it's exactly what we did here. So Now for row 5, you're going to repeat what we did for row 3. And then for row 6, you're going to repeat what we did for row 4. So you're going to alternate those two row 3 and row 4 till you get all the way up to row 11. And when you get up to row 11, you're going to do the third row. That's where we're going to stop off when you follow the pattern. Again, remember, jot down, write down where you're at, and we meet back up at row 11. So this is how we look when we made it all the way up to row 11. We're doing fine job. It looks nice. I like the design of the stitch. Came out really nice. Now we're going to start row 12. You're going to chain your 1 and you're going to turn your work. So the pattern that we're going to follow now is we're going to chain 3 and keep your chain loose as you work. And you're going to find the first set of the lover's knot in the center, that single crochet. You're going to put 1 single crochet. So now I won't show you, and you're going to work that pattern till you get to the end, but continue working with it. So now you're going to chain 3, find the center of our lover's knot, put a single crochet, chain 3, put a single crochet. So we follow that pattern till we get to the end, and we did that for 6 times. So, and I did already a chain 3. And now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet like we've been doing and find the top of that chain 4 from the previous row, and you're going to put that single crochet on top of that, I should say in that chain 4. There you go. Now we're going to start row 13. So chain your 1 and turn your work. So for row 13, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. So that's the first one we have right there. And then for each of our chain that we have, you're going to put 1 single crochet. And as we've been doing, we've been using the back part of our little, not going through the chain, but the bar in the back. The first one is usually hard to find off that chain. And you're going to put a single crochet. So you can see for it's open a little better when you get to the second one of our chain. And then this is our third one. And then that was where we put our single crochet. So go ahead and put another single crochet there. So that's all you're going to do. So 1, 2, 3 of your chain, a single crochet, and so on till you get to the end. Then we meet back up. So we follow that pattern around by putting 1 single crochet in each of our chain and our stitch, and make sure you have 33 stitches at the end of row 13. Here I also want to explain to you too that when we're doing the front of our bag, this is the back of the bag we're doing, we're going to do exactly the same right here that we have from row 1 to row 13. So when we're getting to the front of the bag to do it, I'm not going to show you how to do this because we already did it here for the back of the bag. The only difference is when we're going to start doing the following rows, it's going to change for the back and the front of the bag. So we're going to continue doing, because this is the back, we're going to continue working with the back of our bag. But again, I'm not going to show you how to start the front of the bag, because this is what we're going to use, the same pattern, same design. So now we're continuing. So with row 14 and row 15, all you're going to do is do chain your 1 and turn your work, and you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. So that's for row 14 and row 15. So for those 2 rows, go ahead and do that, and then we'll meet back up. So we complete doing row 14 and 15 by putting 1 single crochet. So now we're going to start row 16. So you're going to chain your 1 and turn your work. So for row 16, what we're going to do, we're going to decrease. We're going to start decreasing. So the first 2 stitch we're going to decrease by using the single crochet 2 together method. I'll show you how to do it. Go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, keep that loop on your hook, go into the next stitch, pull up another loop. So now we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull straight across 3 of them at the same time. So that's how we decrease. So now what you're going to do is you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch till you get to the last 2, and I'll show you again how we decrease those. Okay, we made it to the end where we have only 2 stitches to do, and we're going to decrease them by using the single crochet 2 together. I'll show you again how to do it. Go into that stitch, pull up a loop, go into the last stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull straight across 3 of them at the same time, and that's it. That's how we do the single crochet 2 together, and that's how we decrease. Make sure at the completion of row 16 you have 31 stitches. Now for row 17, of course, we chain our 1, turn our work, and we're going to do what we just did for row 16. You decrease the first 2 stitch, and you're going to put 1 single crochet across till you get to the last 2 stitch, and you're going to decrease those 2. And when you do that, we'll meet back up. So we follow that pattern for row 17, and at the completion of row 17, make sure you have 29 stitches. So now for round 18 and round 19, those 2 rows, all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. And of course I went and I chained my 1 and I turned my work already. So go ahead and do that for the 2 rows 18 and 19, and we meet back up. So we did that for row 18 and row 19, and we didn't increase or decrease, so make sure you have your 29 stitches. Now for row 20, I went ahead and already chained my 1 and turned my work. We're going to also decrease using the single crochet 2 together method for the first 2 stitches and for our last 2 stitches. So go ahead and do that, and we meet back up. And at the end of row 20, make sure you have 27 stitches. Now for row 21, I already went ahead and chained my 1, turned my work. So basically the same thing we did for row 20, we're going to do again. You're going to decrease the first 2 stitch by using the single crochet 2 together and the last 2 stitch. And the stitch between, of course, you put 1 single crochet. When you finish that, we'll meet back up. So we finished that for row 21, and with the completion of following that pattern, we have 25 stitches. Now for row 22 and row 23, for those 2 rows, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. Don't forget to chain your 1 and turn your work. And when you finish that, we'll meet back at row 23. So we complete doing those 2 rows, row 22 and 23, with 1 single crochet. So we should have our 25 stitches, and that's it. So now that's all we're going to do for the back. So all that's left for us to do is this fasten off. Remember I showed you how to do it earlier. You're just going to chain your 1, and then we're going to pull up a nice size loop. We're going to pull up about 14 to 15 inches, and then we're going to cut it off, and I'll show you what to do next. And after you cut off your nice size tail, all you do is just pull on that chain that we made, hold on to it. So our dual rod that we have, we're gonna sew it because this is the back, and of course I attach my yarn needle too. So I'm gonna put it, and we're gonna, well, because remember when I tell you to put the stitch marker to say this is our front of our work, we know that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sew it by turning it and say the inside, but we flip the right side of our work over it. Okay, so that's about about an inch over, and we want to center it as we work to cover the edges that we have, and that's how we're going to sew it. So we're going to go, we're like inside the bag now, and we're going to go take our yarn needle and go through the front, the right side of our work. And what we're going to do is just, we're trying to make our stitches neat and nice, and we're trying to use the last row, row 23, to sew it. I'm just going to try to make it look nice as we go along too. And that's all we're going to do. I made it to the other end. All that's left to do is to hide the tail that I have now. So I'm going to try keep it inside of the bag, and I don't want it to show on the outside. Pick up a few of her stitches, and then I'm just gonna cut that off, the extra piece, and that's it. So that's how it looks for me when I use the regular sewing method, just going back and forth, and that's how it looks. Of course, we have the beginning tail, so just go ahead and hide him underneath with your yarn needle, and that would be it. So tuck in all our ends that we have, and that's it for the back. Now go ahead and do the front piece, and we meet back up, remember, at row 13. So do everything we did like we did for the back for row 13, and then we meet back up. So we made it up to row 13, and this is the front of our bag. Now for row 14, to start it, we're going to chain our 1, and we're going to turn our work. Now for the following 8 stitches, all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet in them. So go ahead and do that for 8 stitches, 1 single crochet. So for this row 14, we're actually working on the bag opening. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 23. So go ahead and do 23, but what I like to do to help me so I don't lose my spot, that first chain that I make, I put a stitch marker there, and keep your chain loose, of course, because we're going to come back and work in them. And also I'm going to put another stitch marker in the last chain that I do. So do 23, and then we meet back up. So I went ahead and completed my 23 chain. So now what we need to do is skip 17 stitches, and at the 18th stitch we're going to join it, and we're going to join it by using just a regular single crochet, and that's it. That's how we're going to join it. And of course, when you join it, we want to keep our little strap that we have for right now, although this is not the strap, it's the bag opening. You want to keep it straight when you attach it. All right, so now the remaining 7 stitches that we have, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in them. Now for row 15, I went ahead and I chained my 1 and I turned my work. So now all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch and also in our chain. And of course, when we're doing the chain, remember we're using the little bars in the back of our chain. So go ahead and do that, put 1 single crochet, and then we meet at the end. I'll show you what to do next. So this is how we look when we finish row 15. And with row 15, when we did the chain also too, we put 1 single crochet. We have 39 stitches at the end of row 15. Now to start row 16, I already chain my 1, turn my work, and for the first 2 stitch we're going to use the single crochet 2 together, so we're going to decrease them. And now for the next 6 stitch, you're going to put 1 single crochet in, and then we meet back up. Okay, so we did that for 6 times by putting 1 single crochet, and we also started to gonna decrease again. So you're gonna do the single crochet 2 together for the next 2 stitch, and you're gonna do again the pattern 2 more times. With you're gonna put 1 2 3 4 5 6 stitch with just 1 single crochet, and then the following 2 you're gonna decrease. So do that for 2 more times, and then we meet back up. Okay, so that's how we look when we did it for 2 more times, that pattern. So now for the next 4 stitch, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of them. And now we're going to decrease the following 2. Now for the following 5 stitch, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet, and the last 2 stitch you're going to decrease them. So by doing that and completing row 16, make sure you have 33 stitches. So for row 17, I went ahead and chained my 1 and I turned my work, and we're going to use the single crochet 2 together to decrease the first 2 stitch to start off with row 17. Now for the pattern we're going to use for the following 4 stitch, all we're going to do is we're going to put 1 single crochet in each of them, and then the following 2 we're going to decrease. So you're going to do that for 3 times and then we meet back up. So now for the next 5 stitch, all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet, and then the following 2 stitch you have remaining, you're going to decrease those. So at completion of row 17, make sure you have 27 stitches. Now for row 18, I went ahead and already chain my 1 and turn my work. So what we're going to do for the first 2 stitch, we're going to decrease those, and you're going to put 1 single crochet in the other stitch till you have the last 2 stitch. And at the last 2 stitch, what you're going to do is you're going to decrease those 2, and then we meet up and I'll show you what to do next. So we went ahead and did that for row 18, and by completing that we have 25 stitches for row 18. Now for rows 19 and 20, for those 2 rows, I'm not going to show you. Of course you remember to chain your 1 and turn your work. All you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in those 2 rows and then we'll meet back up. So that's how we look when we finish those 2 rows, row 19 and 20 with 1 single crochet. And I went ahead and chain 1 and turn my work. Now to continue with row 21, what we're going to do in the first 3 stitches, all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of them. Now we're going to put in our D-ring. I'm going to put it in the front, and we're going to put 3 single crochet around our D-ring. So that's 1. And of course it could slide, so we could do that. 2 single crochet, that's our second one, and then just move it so you could get to that 3rd single crochet there. That's it. So this is the round that the row, excuse me, that we place our D-ring. And now for the remaining stitches that we have, all we're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of them. So go ahead and do that, and then we'll meet back up. So that's how we look when we did that. Now all that's left, that's it for the front of our bag, is to fasten off. So remember, you chain your 1 and you just a little tail, because we're going to weave it in, and that's it. So go ahead and weave in the tails that we have for the front, and then we meet back up and I'll show you what to do. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew up the bag. We're going to take the front, this is our front piece, because we put our little D-ring there so we know it's the front, and we also have our stitch marker to remind us where the front is. And this is the back of our bag, because we put the rod in there, and we know this is the front of the back part of our bag. So we're going to put them together, and we're going to put the 2 wrong side together, and the front outside and the front outside. That's how you're going to put them together. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sew around our bag. We're going to start from here, and then we're going to work our way up till we get to the top. And then when we get to the top, I'll show you how to do the part right here, because we got to put the strap in, and the strap will be the opposite side of our D-ring. So start here, of course, at this corner. I'll show you how I get started. So I attached my yarn needle and went ahead and I cut off 80 inches of our yarn. That should be good enough to help us when we sew it up, and we don't have to. It's always better to have extra than to have less. Right, so we're going to start on the bottom. I'm going to use the first row when we started, the back part and the front part. I'm going to go through that, those chain or the single crochet we started off row 1 with, and then just go back the regular sewing method, back and forth and back and forth. And we're sewing on the right side, because remember our stitch marker is showing us, And this is the front of our bag, because the bag opening is there. Okay, just want to get you started and see how we do it. And to let my anchor my yarn, I go back to when I first started. Right, that should be good. And now I continue working with it. And find, just go underneath the stitches. I'm going to pull, but not too extremely tight. So I just want to show you when I get to the edge, because you don't have the single crochet to guide you to go under it. All you do is just pick up as much stitches as you can as you go along, and that's it. Keep it nice and neat. Just find where you can stitches and keep it close to the edge. Remember, we're trying to make it look nice so that it doesn't show and it holds together nicely. It's not pulling on anything as we work. And that's it. Now I made it to where I need to put in the strap that we did with the swivel hook. And you could decide what, because I say this is the front of my work and this will be the back of my work, but you get to decide how you want to put it in. And I'm just going to put it in right here, and it's like I say ½ inch. I put it inside, and then I'm going to just sew through the strap and the front of the bag and the back of the bag, and that's all I'm going to be doing. If you feel you need to go back over it again a couple of stitches so it could stay nice and tight, you could go ahead and do that. So now what all is left to do is to continue sewing, and we make sure that we have the edge like we did the previous edge. Line it up and then just continue going around till we get back to where we started from. Now I made it back to where we started from. And all that's left to do is just to hide my tail, and then I'm going to cut it off, and that's it. Just going to do one more, make sure it's nice there. I'm trying to go inside and then just feel it as you go. Pick up a couple of stitches underneath and pull through, and that's it. And now I'm going to that off, and then of course you could weave that in also. Now what's left for us to do is we're going to just slip stitch the opening of the bag. This is the top opening of the bag, so I have the bag like upside down facing me, and I'm going to start at this corner. So being that it's upside down facing me, this will be the right side, and you go to the corner, and we're just going to join our yarn right to the corner right here. And then you're going to just loop over on your hook and pull through, and then you're going to chain one so we hold it in place, and that's how we attach our yarn. You could pull on the tail a little bit, and then you find a little stitch, because this will be like the opposite side of the chain when we did the opening for the bag. And a slip stitch is you go into that stitch, and then you're going to pull up a loop, and that same loop we pulled up, we're going to pull straight across with the other loop that we have on our hook, and that's a slip stitch. And then find the next chain over and then pull up a loop, and you're going to pull straight across. And that's how you do a slip stitch. So that's all we're going to do till we get to the other end, and then I'll show you what to do. So all you're doing is just pulling your yarn straight across with a slip stitch. Go into that chain, the opposite side, and that's it. That's all we're going to do. Pull up a loop, pull straight across, and see how we're making it look when we go through. So now I made it to the other end of our bag opening, and all I'm going to do is put one slip stitch right there, as we've been doing, and I'm just going to pull up a tail so we could weave it in, and cut it off, and then you weave it in, and that's it. I won't show you how to weave it in because we've been doing that. So that's it. This is how we look when we're finished. And here, let's see if our strap works. Yeah. Came out nice. So that's the front of our bag, the opening. Your hand could go in. And then this is the back of our bag. And of course, I went ahead and I took out all of our stitch markers that we have to just remind us where the front of it is. And that's it. And that's how we look. That's it. We're all finished. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.